Okay, so we're going to try and make a bit of sense of this chromatic button accordion up here in terms of how the notes are laid out in comparison to a piano keyboard. And you can see I've put these two exercise books on the keyboard here, and what's between the two exercise books is the actual range of notes that you've got on this instrument here, the Chromatic Button Accordion B system. I've put this ruler here. The actual physical distance on this tape here is 20 inches. Okay, if I bring the tape up to the Chromatic Button Accordion, you may be able to see that's about 10 inches, so it's exactly half. So the point I'm trying to make is that the Chromatic Button Accordion gives you all those notes but in half the distance that the piano keyboard does. So how does that work? How can that be? How can you cram all those notes into such a small space? If you were to play these notes like that, that is playing the notes chromatically. In other words, playing all the notes from left to right, all the next door neighbour notes all the way up. Now, those notes I played can be found on this instrument. They are the exact notes that I was playing on the keyboard. So how can we get all those notes on this instrument in such a small area? And the answer is by zigzagging, by kind of folding these notes up into a zigzag pattern. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just show you which note's which. If I play this G here, that's the lowest note on the Chromatic Button Accordion. It's actually this button here. It's row 2, button 1. It may be different on your instrument if you've got a bigger instrument, but this is a Black Diamond 60 bass, fairly standard, smallish Chromatic Button Accordion. I should stress it's B system because C system is different. Similar sort of idea, but it is, the actual angle is different. So I'm dealing specifically with the B system. So there's the G, and there's the G, that note on the Chromatic Button Accordion. Now if I go to the next note on the piano, which is G sharp, the one next to it here, okay, to do that on here, I'm going to have to go to this note here, this black note here, okay. Now I zigzag across for this white note, this A, and then down for this A sharp or B flat, and then B, and then I come across for the C. Can you see the white note on the Chromatic Button Accordion is a white note on the piano? C sharp, black note, see? And then D, and then over for the D sharp, and then down the diagonal for the E, and then another white note, see? So you've got the two white notes together like you have on the piano, the E and the F, and the E and the F there, see? Then over for the F sharp, and then down to the G, and you've done one octave. Let's just do that first octave. So you've got G, and you'll notice sometimes it's a diagonal, sometimes it's straight across. So you've got G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, two white notes, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, let's just keep going, shall we? G sharp, A sharp, B, C, the two white notes together, see? C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and F, two white notes together, see? F sharp coming over, G, G sharp, A, I'm sure you're getting the idea by now. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way so you can see. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, and the top note G. So you can see now by doing that kind of zigzagging, sometimes straight across method, all those notes have been crushed into that area. Now you may have noticed when I played some of the buttons that other buttons went down on rows 4 and 5. And that's because row 1 and row 2, the two outside rows, they are duplicated on rows 4 and 5. And what that gives you, of course, is alternative playing positions. But essentially, just taking into account these 3 outside rows, that is how we can make sense of how the chromatic button accordion works. And so in half the space that the piano keyboard takes up, you've got all those notes, and obviously with a piano keyboard, you've got this. If I was to show you this note here, which is a C, obviously it's quite a big piece of wood, that, isn't it? That note, but you actually only play, you only have to put your finger on a tiny bit of it, so you actually only need that kind of surface area, and so it's a far more efficient, if you like, way of sounding the notes and playing the notes. So I hope you find that useful, and I think that's, I must admit, when I came to this, I didn't really get it at first. Having studied it, I think you can see it makes a lot of sense this way. It's also worth saying that if you go to my website, address on your screen now, www.daddylongles.com, and you go to Chromatic Button Accordion section, you'll be able to download a couple of charts that kind of support what I've said in this video.